Okay, so this is the moment you've been waiting for. Since the morning, everyone's been asking, number batao. So now is the time we start doing that. We'll start with the state of Punjab. What you're about to see on your screens now are the India Today Access My India exit poll numbers for Punjab. Every single of these 117 assembly constituencies was sampled. A total sample size of 28,582. Rajdeep, let's get started.
Okay, let's get started with the state of Punjab, which in many ways has been just as exciting as Uttar Pradesh, quite simply because there's been so much of drama in the state of Punjab. And we are going to add to the drama because these are the first vote share numbers in the My India Access poll on Punjab. 41% for the Aam Adami Party, 28% for the ruling party, Charanjit Singh Channi of the Congress, 19% for the Shiromani Akali Dal BSP combined, 7% for the BJP Amrinder Singh combined, 5% others. But look at the gap, 13% gap for Aam Adami Party. Arvind Kejriwal there. Remember, Bhagwan Mann is their chief ministerial candidate, but it's Arvind Kejriwal, their national convener, who's been the driving force there in Punjab. 41 is playing 28-19. Are we seeing history scripted in Punjab? What is the My India Access poll saying when it comes to the big numbers now of Punjab? Take a look at these numbers. We're now going to give you the big numbers for Punjab in a moment. 28% is the vote share, 117 seats in Punjab. How is it playing out? This is what the Access My India, 76-90 for the Aam Adami Party. If this poll is right, this is history. Landslide as of now of the kinds that we've seen only when Indira Gandhi and others were around in Punjab. Punjab has normally seen competitive elections, Akalis versus the Congress. Congress down to 1931. If this is right, the Channi experiment has not quite worked. 7-11. Shiromani Akali Dal collapsing, the party that ruled Punjab for 10 years, 2007 to 17, and has been the old party of Punjab. The BJP's experiment not working. JP Nadda, as we are showing there, interesting, with Amrinder Singh, and 0-2 for others. So clearly, this is a landslide, is what Pradeep Gupta of Axis is predicting. Now this is huge, because Rahul, this completely changes the map of Punjab in a manner that we haven't seen and makes Arvind Kejriwal potentially a national figure.
And the most interesting thing in the numbers for Punjab is that if you look at the region of Malwa, out of the 69 seats of Malwa, the Access My India exit poll is predicting that the AAP will win 63 out of 69. It is in Maja, the areas near Amritsar where AAP was weak last time, in Maja as well. The AAP has twice the number of seats the Congress is winning. In Doab though, which is the area around Jalandhar and Hoshiarpur and Nawashahar, which is where the AAP is behind the Congress. There, it's 12 to the Congress, 5 to the AAP. But if you look just at Malwa, which is where Bhagwant Mann comes from, which is also where there has been a massive AAP wave even in 2017. There, out of 69, 63 seats, Malwa and to some extent Maja, helping the Aam Adami Party cross all this confusion which was there. Sanjay Kumar, in people's mind, will it be hung? Is it tight? Has there been transfer of Dera votes? This exit poll is suggesting Aam Adami Party is likely to be in power in Punjab and win in style.
Rahul, I have no doubt that it's not going to be hung, but I don't know whether it is going to be between 76 and 90 seats. But I think it is going to be a clear victory for Aam Adami Party. There is no question about hung assembly, no question about whether Aam Adami Party is going to be short of majority or not. I think the exit poll data is giving a clear indication of that, and this is the sense we are getting from the ground also.
And you made a significant point, Rahul, about Malwa itself. 69 seats there. Even last time, the Aam Adami Party got almost all its 16 seats from there, only 2 from the rest. But this is also the agrarian heartland. Harmeet will tell us more. This is where a number of people who participated in the farmers' agitation were. This is where many of the issues that really trouble Punjab today, whether it is high unemployment, whether it is health facilities, whether it's education, everything really comes together in what was the agrarian heartland of Punjab. Harmeet, you seem stunned by these results.
Of course, I am stunned because...
you don't accept them. You don't think this will happen.
I'll still wait for the actual result, but if these numbers hold true, then definitely Aam Admi Party has swept the bellwether region of Malwa. There are, of course, as you mentioned, there are 69 seats there, and it won 18 seats from this region in 2017, so which is a huge jump, which means that it has. And the other aspect here is that the Akalis are nowhere in the picture now. So a regional party is gone if these numbers hold true. And
What it also says is that all these efforts at trying to transfer votes and trying to be too clever by half, by trying to ensure tactical switching on seats for candidates between parties, when there's a wave coming, and this jugaad doesn't work. It's quite simple. Preeti, you traveled, and in some senses feeling of vindication that what you picked up?
I don't know. Vindication will only happen when the last vote is counted on the 10th. But I'll just give you anecdotally on why I feel, these numbers could be close to the real numbers. Because, I covered the election in 2017, Rahul. And if I was to look, one of the main reasons why I actually thought this was a genuine organic way for the Aam Admi Party, this was cross-region. To give you an example, I was in Majha, the border villages. Now, that's a belt where the Panth vote for the Akali comes from, very strong, where the Akalis are concerned. I sat village after village where people did not know the candidate's name. But when I asked them who are they going to vote for, they said Jhadu. So, these are indications that there is a wave on when you don't know the name of the candidate. Number two, what I think has worked very well for the Aam Admi Party is announcing Bhagwant Mann as the chief ministerial face. He might be a comedian, but I saw him being wildly popular. One final, point I'll make, Rajdeep, is when you went to the road shows of the Aam Admi Party in the evening, where you see the difference from a regular party, why this was organic, people were coming out with their children, people were coming out as families. The whole, the tagline of Badlav, which was their campaign, actually filtered down the common most denominator. They wanted change.
I'll tell you the one big difference, because there is a caveat that people will add, which is why the nervousness that you said, Rahul, a lot of people thought hung, because last time, similarly, exit polls were predicting an AAP victory. Congress won in the end. There's a big difference. One is, of course, Bhagwant Mann, chief ministerial candidate. There was no. But I think what has happened, cross-region, yes. But importantly, you've now had 10 years of Congress spread over the last 20 years, and you had 10 years of Akalis. In 2017, the Congress could claim that the anti-incumbency, especially after the sacrilege issue, was entirely with the Akalis, and they capitalized on it with a strong Jat Sikh leader in Captain Amrinder Singh, tried and tested. This time, tried, tested, and found to be wanting, both the Akalis and the Congress. So that mood for, but I've always believed, Rahul, controversial, and that's where Malwa comes in. The Aam Admi Party, with its kind of politics, will win when there is a strong mood for change. Badlav, khatam kar do sab. All.
No, but you have to make that. You have to make that mahal. See, that mahal doesn't happen on its own. You have to be present on the ground and channelize people's anger and be the agent of change.
Absolutely, but Rahul, if these numbers hold, and that is, if, when there is a congressman on the show, we should look at that. So, the Congress changed its chief minister 5 months ago, and I've gone through the records. Not since PC Sethi in the 1970s has a chief minister been changed within 6 months of an election. That was peak of Indira Gandhi's popularity. Has a party won an election? You can't change a chief minister 4 months before and believe people will forget 4.5 years. Anti-incumbency.
But BJP is trying that in Uttarakhand.
8 months before. 8 months before, but I'm giving 6 months. Therefore, yes, BJP could do it, but you remember Sushma Swaraj, others. It hasn't always worked. My sense is the Congress accepted that there was anti-incumbency by changing their chief minister, did it much too late. You want to change a chief minister, change him 12 to 18 months. Not enough. Yes,
okay. Also, after the changing the chief minister, what did the Congress do?
Exactly.
The mess it created on the toes of the change, and also the BJP and the Akalis created a huge mess. You see, I think if it is happening the way we are predicting, it means that it is a vote against the moribund old-timers and the entire caucus which ruled Punjab. I think they are voting, as you said, for a different change. And imagine what a moment. I think first time ever a regional player like Arvind Kejriwal will get to rule another state in India.
It's very significant.
It's the first time
in
ever.
The context of
there is no
politics.
regional party which
Other
has come to rule another
But
state.
it is not a regional party. That is the difference. That is, in my view, the one advantage AAP has over a TMC.
No, that is because that is perceptibly.
No.
Because he thinks it's acceptable.
No, which is the, you see, Delhi is not a region. Delhi is the national capital. Arvind Kejriwal has that one advantage. He can genuinely go out to a state and claim I'm a national alternative without carrying the regional party tag. Now, all of this this depends, of course, on what happens. But if these results hold, Rahul, think about it. Himachal Pradesh goes to the polls in November, December. Gujarat, which is his next target. The fact
The difference is that here there are very few months left. In Punjab, they were in the reckoning even last time.
No, you're right.
It takes time to build parties.
You're right. All I'm saying is, what does it say? I think the biggest shock, the first big shock of these exit polls is for the Congress party.
And
Rahul Gandhi himself was behind the removal of Amrinder Singh and the appointment of Charanjit Singh Channi in the belief that a Dalit chief minister will change the...
And Rakesh Sinha, is this BJP's worst nightmare?
No,
On AAP
in
winning
fact,
Punjab?
Bharatiya Janata Party has not been a big player in Punjab. It had alliance with the Akali Party. So
No, sure, I'm saying the significance of AAP winning. See, AAP is very different from Congress.
You know what I find that in this election, the AAP has cast the anti-establishment factor, and the voters have bracketed all the national parties in one seat. That is part of establishment, because each and every party ruled the Punjab. And what I find in this survey, that only 25% women have been included. I think that would change. You just see 75% male and 25 women. And the women are very significant player in the elections. They are very silent voters. Their voting trend is different from the
our guests
male
who are
voters.
joining us. Reena Gupta from the Aam Adami Party, Ashdeep Singh Khadial of the Congress, and Jangveer Singh of the Shiromani Akali Dal. Reena Gupta, to you first. The India Today exit poll for Access My India suggesting that not just is the Aam Adami Party winning, but winning in massive style. This could go up, according to this poll, up to about 90 seats, a vote share increase from 24.9% to 41%. That's a 16% increase in 5 years. No wonder Reena is smiling from ear to ear. Mubarak.
Thank you, Rahul. This is exactly what we were hoping to achieve, Rahul. We ran a really positive campaign and we focused on real issues. All the other parties, try to derail the campaign, bringing in all sorts of issues. But till the end, we focused our campaign on real issues of school, education, electricity, water. And I'm so happy that the people of Punjab have embraced this positive campaign, and also this vote is for Badlao, Rahul. And I'm really happy that we can take the Kejriwal model of governance from Delhi to other states. Punjab used to be a glorious, prosperous state, and we are looking forward to bringing the glory back to Punjab, Rahul. And I am very sure that it's going to be a clean sweep like Delhi, and we'll get upwards of 80 seats on the 10th when the counting actually happens and we get the results.
Ashdeep Khadial, from the Congress's perspective, I mean, the Congress, Rajdeep, really knows how to blow things up. First, you had Amrinder Singh, you pushed him out, you brought in Channi, you irritated Navjot Singh Sidhu, and, like it used to be said about the Indian cricket team, once you can snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, I think the Congress has mastered that art. This was an election you were poised to win, you just went and blew it up.
Assuming the numbers are right.
Of course, all of this is assuming.
I've just got a message from a Congress leader that you will have egg on your face on Thursday. So the first attack on the exit poll has taken place from the Congress party.
We come here to bat with helmets and bulletproof jackets. And yes, we reserve the right to reverse our punditry based on what happens on the 10th. Yes, Mr. Khadial, that's so.
Right. Thank you. So first things first, history is going to repeat itself. What happened in 2017 will happen again. All these exit polls, opinion polls, Aam Adami Party's own polls, Aam Adami Party has now kind of gotten accustomed to it. These polls would get their hopes so high, and then the result day would come, and they have become accustomed to getting a shock on that day. The last time also, the C voter survey, the Chanakya survey, the MRC survey, all these surveys said that Aam Adami Party would be forming government. They would score around 55 seats and happened what? 20 seats. India Today's Axis survey said that they would score 42 to 51 seats. What happened? Just 20 seats.
Forget
and out of those 20 MLAs
our post-poll study showed up losing and Congress winning. One second, Ashdeep, you can't quote selectively. Our post-poll survey for Punjab was bang on. So at least when you're dissing polls, be fair and factual.
No, they're not. They were 42 to 51 for Aam Adami Party is what the Axis survey showed. The 2017 elections, you might as well verify that. But let me tell you one thing, that you cannot hand over the key of your car to an inebriated person. How can you hand over the key of Punjab? Second of all, the change that Aam Adami Party was proposing in Punjab, everybody saw through that change. Their very own founder had exposed Aam Adami Party and told what the mansoobas and intentions of Kejriwal Sahab was, that he wanted to divide
you make
Punjab
an important
and make it an
point, Mr.
independent
Khadial,
state, and that's
which
why
is about whether
nobody would
Bhagwant
have
Mann
voted
still
for Aam
has
Adami Party.
a drinking
Can't
problem.
blame
But
them
the
a big
interesting
shot.
thing there is that when I ask people in Punjab, you know, what about Bhagwant Mann's drinking problem? They have this wry, sheepish kind of smile on their face, Rajdeep, when they say, what's the big deal? All of us drink.
Absolutely.
So it's, you know, it's the one unique state where a chief ministerial candidate having a past issue with alcohol isn't a big deal. I mean, voters cannot dismiss it.
Let's look at that, Rahul. Let's look at chief ministerial candidates, because that's one of the questions that the Axis My India poll has asked. Chief ministerial candidates, since so much was made about this first Dalit chief minister, take a look at what it says. Okay, the chief ministerial candidates of Punjab. Take a look at what it says. Remember, Bhagwant Mann is the choice of the Aam Adami Party. 37% said Bhagwant Mann is our preferred candidate. Direct question asked, who do you want as CM? Just below where the Aam Adami Party, 41% is their vote share. Charanjit Singh Channi does reasonably well, better than actually 27% is what he's getting, marginally higher than the Congress's vote share in this election, particularly in Doaba among the Dalit belt. Strong support from him. Sukhbir Singh Badal, really the chief minister for the first time as the candidate of his party. Remember, it's always been Prakash Singh Badal, his father, 19%. So therefore, to answer your question, Bhagwant Mann gets, is almost like his party. If you're choosing AAP, you have no problems with Bhagwant Mann as well, which is, Harmeet, again, possibly, as Rahul says, a bit of a surprise to those who perhaps are outside Punjab. But when I traveled in Punjab and Rahul spent a lot of time with him, he was a bit of a folk hero. He is offering that alternative. Enough of these, the Maharajas and the Badals. Let's get a complete alternative.
And he's claiming that he's changed. He says, I don't touch alcohol. I'm up early in the morning, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I'm doing my first sabha. What are you talking about? That's all in the past.
He is a folk hero. There's no doubt about it. But the thing is, if you see Arvind Kejriwal, he took his own time in declaring his name. Why? Because he was trying to have some sort of an alliance with the farmers, which didn't materialize. He knew that perhaps the farming community won't vote for him. And that's why, he was dilly-dallying on that. That let's have some time and let's see if we can stitch an alliance with the farmers. It didn't materialize. At the end of the day, what happened was that, okay, let's place our bets on Bhagwant Mann. Let's capitalize on his celebrity status, which is what he did. And who knows, it worked beyond Malwa, or it worked really good in Malwa region itself.
And he's bitingly funny. If you listen to one of his speeches, he has people eating out of his hand with his humor, with his delivery. Priyanka Gandhi, just the day before we caught up with him, attacked Bhagwant Mann, attacked the Aam Adami Party, saying, "Ye Delhi se chalegi party. AAP is run from the capital." Bhagwant Mann says, "Where's Priyanka Gandhi from? Ye moge to hai." So he's basically, ensuring that everybody has a laugh and they're voting for him. I want to ask Rahul Verma that one question which will be asked again and again on if AAP wins, whether AAP can now position itself in a 10-15 year horizon as a big national threat to the BJP. That's what AAP will hope for. The Congress will say it doesn't work like that. What do you think?
I think in the short run, BJP would be happy with the AAP's rise. Because what it does in the short run, it basically...
I'm not sure. Why do you say that?
In the short run, that's why I'm saying the short run, what it does, it basically creates competition for the second spot. So Congress losing a state like Punjab, TMC also trying to come up, there are 3 contenders for the second spot. So in the short run, it helps. But in the medium to long run, AAP manages to win, say, another state, manages to basically go with this Delhi model.
Can I counter what you're saying to tell you, based on my interactions with top BJP leaders, that they'd much rather play a Congress than play an Aam Adami Party? Congress is easy to punch. Aam Adami Party gets under their skin. They don't like that. They'd much rather have AAP lose and Congress win in Punjab, because Congress winning suits them. It's easy to attack Congress. It's much tougher to attack the AAP.
No, I'm not denying that in couple of years, if AAP basically wins Punjab and wins perhaps another state, because they have something to talk about as Delhi model of governance, like Prime Minister Modi had Gujarat model of governance, in the medium to long term, AAP is going to be much dangerous for the BJP. But in the run-up to 2024, basically divides the position.
Rakesh Sinha wants to divide. Can I just point out, Rakesh ji, when you speak, AAP, when we travelled in Punjab, everyone was talking about a Delhi model of governance. And as somebody who's in Delhi, I would wonder, but what is the Delhi model of governance? Because while, of course, you got free bijli and pani, but infrastructure, there are very serious issues. But he somehow was able to market his achievements. And therefore, people, they're saying, Delhi model of governance. And they like that. They want that.
You know, in the midst of the failures of the Congress party, the Aam Adami Party could project its governance, model of governance. But what I find that in long run, what others say that long run it will be a challenge to the BJP, but I find that Arvind Kejriwal leadership, I'm sorry to say it, is unevolved leadership.
Who scares you more, AAP or Congress?
No,
direct answer. Who is it that you fear more?
Both has the same DNA. They both are dynast. Both are the
How is Arvind Kejriwal a dynast?
Individualism is
how
dynast.
is he a dynast?
Individualism is just like a dynasty. Dynasty.
No, then even Narendra Modi will be a dynast, for God's sake.
We know.
How is Arvind Kejriwal
No, I'm just
I'm
telling you.
No, Rakesh Sinha, you're saying Arvind Kejriwal is a dynast?
Yes, you just find that he does not tolerate anybody. Dynast does not mean that
he's an authoritarian leader.
Authoritarian.
And Mr. Modi?
He is not authoritarian. He is the most democratic leader. I see it. Narendra Modi is one prime minister. Narendra Modi is one prime minister who, among the workers, become the worker. You can't find in Indian democracy, in modern democracy, some prime minister is elitist character. So one just small point. You know, Arvind Kejriwal leadership is unevolved leadership. He could not change his style. So I think there would be a personality clash between the Chief Minister of Punjab and Arvind Kejriwal. It would be very difficult for Arvind Kejriwal.
No, but can I say, Bhagwant Mann is very happy taking orders from Kejriwal and people around him. During this campaign, Bhagwant Mann did exactly what he was asked to do in the manner that he was asked to do. Now, whether it stays like that after the campaign or things change, because after all, he's Chief Minister of a much bigger state than Kejriwal is.
Sure, but I think this question should be answered. Rahul Srivastav, this point is being made again and again. Who is it? I think very good point made by Rahul Verma. In the short run, Arvind Kejriwal's rise may suit the BJP because he divides the opposition vote. Let's say in a Gujarat, if he does well, carrying the momentum with these results in Punjab hold. But in the long run, is he the challenger that perhaps the Congress cannot be at the moment to the BJP? What is your sense?
See, Rajdeep, the BJP dislikes taking on regional players. BJP's track record on taking on regional players, look at Mamata Banerjee, look at Naveen Patnaik. For a very long time in UP, BSP and Samajwadi Party, RJD in Bihar, still, it's piggy riding virtually. It might have done better than Nitish Kumar, but Nitish Kumar is a face. I think Mr. Sinha should look at the data if it's good. Worrying for the BJP, Aam Adami Party is getting more Hindu upper caste votes in Punjab than the BJP. It's getting more Hindu OBCs than the BJP. It means there is something happening.
Nobody wants to waste a vote also.
Yeah, but still, Rahul, that's what happened in UP. That's exactly when Narendra Modi arrived there. He galvanized with his Gujarat model and several other elements a vote base which was dithering.
That's interesting because Sheila Bhatt, you've tracked Modi, you've in a way looked at the BJP closely. Is your sense, Sheila, that the BJP today would fear a rising up if these results hold, winning in Punjab, then perhaps going to Himachal, going to Gujarat, more than they would a Congress, which for whom this would be a huge setback? The one North Indian state that the Congress has dominated in the last 7 years, if they lose that, it means that Rahul Gandhi's gamble of replacing the Chief Minister has not worked if these results hold. Who do you think the BJP fears most? An rising up or a strong or a Congress brand?
Obviously, I think first of all, Radip, let us as a journalist, as we are observing so much from the ground, this is a very big news if AAP wins. We must not by different way sabotage AAP's big win. It's a very offbeat, it's very...
A disruptor, a complete disruptor.
It's a trend-setting event which we are talking about. Let us say that very clearly. This is a great anti-vote of people,
could they take this to
Punjab
Gujarat?
Against the all famous, all established, all rich and fat
but Sheila, since you're from Gujarat,
this is a very big.
Could they take this to Gujarat? Could they take the same anti-establishment, anti-BJP, anti-Congress mood to Gujarat?
See, the beauty of India is that all grounds are different. But I tell you, but you asked me about whether BJP fears. I would say that in keeping in mind 2024, BJP would have liked Congress to win, because once Congress is winning, then in the non-BJP bigger grand opposition table, Congress can be one of the players, and BJP is so comfortable, and so it has a institutional ways and strategies to take on Congress.
Congress is a bit like Zimbabwe from BJP's
but
perspective.
I don't.
They'd much rather play Zimbabwe than have to duel with somebody they have to fight with.
No, Rahul, it's an intriguing question, because the way I see it, the Congress is still the more pan-Indian brand. Let's be
But they
clear.
don't know what to do with the brand.
Yeah, so therefore, for example, in a Karnataka, which goes to the polls next year, in the 3 other North Indian states, I'm just saying, as a brand, you cannot deny the Congress its space.
Yeah, but they have a driver who doesn't know how to ride a Mercedes. Your engine is a Mercedes,
you and
but
I
you don't know how to drive a Mercedes.
but where an Arvind Kejriwal, he doesn't carry the baggage. You see, so for the BJP, it becomes more difficult to attack an Arvind Kejriwal than it becomes to attack a Congress. The immediately...
BJP,
How will they attack Arvind Kejriwal?
No. Can't you see how they managed with Amit Shah and Kejriwal meeting again and again in COVID times? What did they do? He went there to his Krishna Menon Marg, and they had a meeting and they called press. No, I don't think that is true. But I am saying in a big picture, see, we all discussed 2024, and with respect to that, I think this Arvind Kejriwal is a very different strand of Indian politics. Is that this big, green revolution, there is a final burning.
No, that's true, but
Pradeep Gupta joins us now. Pradeep Gupta has a new suit.
New Punjab.
He's also now part of a Harvard Business School case study. And in many ways, his organizational and individual reputation depends on getting all these exit polls ranked. So no pressure, Pradeep, but welcome. Tell us, you've predicted, unlike conventional wisdom, an AAP sweep in Punjab. Right. What's your confidence interval at this time?
I'm pretty much confident, and reason is very simple. We go to each and every assembly consistency, meet people, and we do representative sampling, and whatever data we collect based on our analysis, this is what is coming forward.
No, but Pradeep, there will be those, and already they are saying that Pradeep, I don't know whether you predicted it, but most pollsters predicted a similar sweep for AAP even in 2017. They predicted at least 70 plus. That time, they all got it wrong. Are you much more confident this time than in 2017?
No, in 2017 we were bang on. We predicted Congress victory.
I said most pollsters.
That's what
no, because Mr. Khadian is here from the Congress. He says you got Punjab wrong in 2017.
Not at all. We predicted 71 seats for the Congress, and they secured 77 seats. Not at all.
Charanjit Singh Channi is speaking at this time. Let's listen to the Punjab CM.
197 स्टूडेंट वहाँ थे, जिसमें से 420 वापस आ चुके हैं और बाकी 200 पोलैंड में चले गए हैं, वो सेफ हैं, लेकिन अभी कुछ लोग वहीं फंसे हुए हैं। उनके लिए मैंने निवेदन किया है और उन्होंने मुझे विश्वास दिया है कि हम
Indian students in Ukraine and efforts to get them back. He obviously doesn't want to talk about this exit poll just at this moment, and fair enough, you should wait till the 10th to be able to do this. The interesting thing I find from your numbers is Malwa is where AAP was strong last time. They've really consolidated and gained. And in Majha, where they were very weak last time, they have done well. So AAP has spread its presence across the state this time.
No, not at all. In fact, AAP is trailing behind way, in a big way. In fact, as per our poll, AAP is likely to get only 5 seats in Doaba region, and Congress is likely to win 12 seats. 5 versus 12, and vote percentage, there is a 10% difference between AAP and Congress party. Congress is likely to get 37% as against 27% by AAP. So that's the big difference.
No, but the point I'm making is both in Majha and in Malwa. Earlier, AAP was just a Malwa phenomena,
right.
Which is where Bhagwan Maan comes from. But now they've spread to Amritsar, the north part of the state in Majha. It's only in Doab, in that area around Jalandhar, Hoshiarpur, where they are weak. Why didn't the AAP wave carry forward to the Doab region?
2-3 region is very simple. Doab is supposed to be very prosperous region, being a Jalandhar which is holding a big number, large number of seats out of 23 seats in Doaba. And Aam Adami Party doesn't have any base whatsoever, even during 2014 general election. That time they secured 4 seats, 4 Lok Sabha seats, all 4 were in Malwa.
You know, in fact, one of the more interesting things that's coming out from Pradeep's survey, and Harmeet, you want to come into this because you said, you know, when Channi was appointed first Dalit Chief Minister, there was a feeling that a state with a 32% Dalit population, this could be a game changer. As per Pradeep's poll, AAP is getting 38% of this Dalit vote, Congress is getting 35%, Shiromani Akali Dal 20%. So even among Dalits, there seems to be this mood for change. My point is, once there's a mood for change, it doesn't matter whether you're a Dalit, whether you're a Jat Sikh, the only Hindu SCs, very interesting, except for Hindu SC, Hindu Dalits are the only group where the Congress is scoring over AAP. In every other group, AAP seems to be scoring over Congress. Are you surprised, or do you believe that could be something that is the X factor come Thursday?
No, I'm surprised definitely here. For example, if you say that there is a 32% Dalit vote bloc, I have seen Charanjit Singh Channi projecting himself not as a Dalit leader, but in fact as a leader who represents all the poor sections of society. He will never identify himself with the Dalit population because he perhaps knew that, yes, there is some sort of competition from Aam Adami Party, so I should rather focus on class rather than on caste. But this thing that, the Hindu Dalits are supporting Aam Adami Party more, the Congress more, and the Sikh Dalits are in fact, on the other side. This is quite surprising because Channi at the end of the day is himself a Ramdasiya Sikh. And
so what could change between, in this survey, you've been saying, it's a very unusual survey in a way,
it is.
because Malwa domination, Doaba, the same party doesn't get the same change vote, but Majha is where they've made the new gains, in the Panthik heartland. I want to understand, is there anything that you think could make this survey go wrong?
Ask Pradeep that.
Pradeep, you want to tell us?
I don't think, because
You're
it's very simple.
confident.
It's very simple. You have a brand in Arvind Kejriwal, but it doesn't translate. There is no outlets to sell the brand in Doab region. That's the very simple answer to this.
So what are the outlets in Majha?
Majha, they have, after this Vijay Kumar Pratap Singh, and there are so many, leaders. Vijay Pratap Singh joined from services, and there are so many, leaders who has joined in Majha region. But in Jalandhar, which is the urban, there is a difference in urban and rural also when it comes to Punjab. Punjab is the most urbanized state across the country. That is another thing. And in Malwa, hardly any city, when it comes to Jalandhar, Ludhiana, Amritsar, they all fall in Majha.
What I was shocked by this time, Rahul, and you also traveled in Punjab, I was in this park in Ludhiana, early morning having lassi. Most of the people were industrialists. Most of them heartland Punjabi, all come through, many of them come children of partition, their parents had come from Pakistan. Traditionally, this was a BJP vote, the urban Punjabi Hindu vote. And I asked them, and they also said, nahi, bahut ho gaya. 10 साल कांग्रेस को दे दिए, 10 साल अकाली को दे दिया, कुछ नहीं हुआ है, let's make change. You see, once that mood for change sets in, like we saw in Delhi in 2014-15, then it doesn't matter. And then when they called Kejriwal a terrorist, I rang up some of them. They said, ye kya, is tarah ki bhasha you. In fact, I thought they got angry by it. They said, this is enough is enough. They drew a red line. कि बहुत हो गया ये किसी को terrorist कहना. And that too, last 2-3 days you get Kumar Vishwas. Where was he last 2-3 years? सब public है, ये सब जानती है. Boss अंदर है क्या बाहर क्या.
This desire for change is captured very clearly in this exit poll by Access My India, because on that question of the reason for why you voted for a particular party in this assembly election, 47% of the respondents said they voted for change. Badlav hona chahiye. All the other reasons about MLA, CM candidate, unemployment, the Prime Minister, caste, inflation is much lesser. The only searing point over there is people are fed up with the Akalis in the Congress. They want change.
And can I just add to that very quickly before you go to Pradeep? Just look at, Rahul, the way all the parties have played Punjab. Congress changes its chief minister, which is an effective admission that your government was not working effectively. Appoint someone as the party president who every day is attacking his own chief minister. So Sidhu versus Channi. You've got the BJP, which wants to fish in troubled waters and takes Amrinder on its side, the same person who has been removed because of the alleged anti-incumbency against him, because they want a foothold now that the Akalis have let them. And the Akalis have, they are the ones who could have perhaps tried to sort of make a real comeback, and they remain the X factor in a way. But they too are not able to offer a new narrative of change. You see, unless you capture the mood for change, which the Punjabi today, Sikh or Hindu feels, why should I vote for you? So Kejriwal's newness or Bhagwant Man's newness or novelty factor has become his strength.
Pradeep Gupta, the demand for change.
Yes, quite
You
evident.
agree with that?
100% quite evident. And जब बोलते हैं कि change आता है, परिवर्तन आता है, तो सबको उड़ा देता है. It cut across all the lines, demography or geography.
I would describe this contextual change as a national party holiday in Punjab.
National
Party holiday in the Punjab. Means they have been sent back and regional party got the, but I don't think that in long run.
इतना easy नहीं है. It's not holiday. थप्पड़ मिलेगा अगर ये सही है तो.
थप्पड़ नहीं मिलेगा in the long run.
Holiday नहीं है.
देखिए sir, Rakesh ji, you tie up with Amrinder Singh. Clearly, as per our poll, that has not worked out. No, let's be honest. Your party also joined in and said Kejriwal is involved with Khalistani terrorists. Your party failed on the farmer agitation. Punjab is the one state where even Mr. Modi at the peak 2014, 2017, 17, 19 has not worked. कुछ तो है कि Punjabi Sikh does not seem to want to be with the BJP.
Khalistan should not be the term of discourse. Even this term should be discarded in the.
अरे sir, आप लोगों ने ही उसको discourse में लाया.
What I say, the way Kejriwal tried to support and legitimize certain radical elements, that was the main target. We are a national player, so we can contest and we can contest each other.
But it clearly didn't work. But, if this is the exit poll, then that didn't work.
In Punjab, the election was for change, and Akali Party's government and the Congress Party government. So both have been bracketed in the one criteria that they are part of the establishment.
Rahul Verma, the other interesting thing is, in a state typically, if the Congress loses to a third front, if they lose to the BJP, sometimes they get it back. But most often in states like Tamil Nadu, in states like West Bengal, in states like UP, once they lose to a third player, it's very difficult for the Congress to come back.
True. Congress historically, basically, when it goes below 20% point, it never recovers. Except Haryana, if it goes like that was the only occasion where they came up as a second position, but it never recovered. More than that, what you were discussing about Punjab, what happened in Punjab in last 6 to 8 months, AAP was setting the agenda of contest, of the discourse. AAP basically first announced that we are going to have a deputy chief minister who will be Dalit. And then Shiromani Akali Dal got BSP on its side, and Congress party was in some ways forced to make a Dalit chief minister. So not just on the Dalit question, but on many other questions, AAP was deciding or
and everyone was attacking the AAP, whether it's the Prime Minister, whether it's the Akalis, whether it's the Congress. AAP was the focal point of all attacks. Mr. Khadial is here, and I want to just correct him in Pradeep's presence that we did not call Punjab wrong. 71 seats is what the exit poll in 2017 gave the Congress party, so you're factually wrong. But that's fine. You can wait till the 10th to see what happens this year. But what you said about 2017 was wrong. Yes.
I just said 42 to 51 seats is what India Today's Access Survey said for Aam Adami Party. I did not say for Congress you were wrong. I said your prediction vis-a-vis Aam Adami Party was wrong.
No, but how is that possible? If 71 is what you gave the Congress, then 41, then you're 120 already. No,
he's not wrong there. We did give up more than they eventually got, Pradeep.
That's right.
We did give them more, but not like what you're doing this time. This time you're giving a landslide.
Definitely not. And he's right. We have given away 30 seats and they secured 20 seats.
No, but not 50. He's saying 50.
No, not at all. Not at all. 30 to 40 seats. 30 was the lower range, and Congress party 71 was the upper range. For the interest of all, let me clear very simply. Axis My India got wrong only 4 occasions and got absolutely right in 48 occasions out of total 52 elections we have called since 2013. So it is easier to remember where we went wrong, which is Tamil Nadu 16 election, Karnataka election 18, Bihar 20 and West Bengal
Now, since we're talking
recently
about
21.
Chap,
This
shub,
is
shub
the
bolo.
foray.
Don't worry about where we went wrong. Hopefully we'll be right and that's what matters most. Huh? I hope you've been to Kashi Vishwanath and Golden Temple and wherever else you need to go, Pradeep.
No, I don't need to go anywhere. My team works very hard. And in fact, they spend most of the time throughout the year, 1 year before the election in the field. So I am pretty confident.
So we'll say all of this on the 10th. Right now we've got our fingers crossed.
What happened, and this will be interesting that maybe Harmeet and Rahul want to respond. Because everyone who went in the field saw Badlav.
Except the Punjab journalists.
Yes.
The Punjab
So that's
journalists who are
why I know.
sitting
So the
there,
Punjab
they can't
journalists-
see the change.
And a senior bureaucrat has said that you all have not underestimated the power in the last 3 days of the cadres of the Akalis, the Deep Sidhu death and the impact that it had, and a belief that this campaign, of Khalistani and all has worked on the ground. My answer to him has been elections don't get decided in the last 48 hours when there is a mood for change. Rahul Srivastava, do you agree broadly with that? That once voter has decided in India कि बदलाव करना है, फिर ये जो भी होता है doesn't dramatically change the result.
Absolutely, Azi. I think people of Punjab built up an opposition to the present set of leadership, and that's how they created a mind for change. It was not overnight that they suddenly picked up. See, Rajdeep, on a lot of things which we look at, I think even when we were discussing this entire Khalistani element, I think it had an impact. The BJP actually did it, I think, largely to help the Aam Adami Party. The Aam Adami Party lacked that strident face among those strident face forces in Punjab. That sympathy factor wasn't there. I think it actually helped Aam Adami Party. Second, Mr. Sinha raised a point that Charan Maan will be run by Delhi. Mr. Sinha, there is increasingly a tendency. By bringing Mr. Maan, he ensured that there is no non-Sikh element in Punjab who will lead Punjab for the Aam Adami Party. Second, I think this country is now used to what I call Alexa chief ministers, that somebody controlling them from Delhi. I think this idea that somebody will not vote for a person Rahul, just because he'll be controlled for Delhi are over.
Is post facto panditry. It's a bit like cricket. If a decision you take to drop somebody or to bring somebody in works, then the captain is heralded as a genius and it's called a master stroke. If that same idea doesn't work, then everyone guns for him. The fact is that very often a lot of this is already decided in the build-up, and these last-minute tweaks and changes that you do can only impact on the margins. They can't change the fundamental course of the election. What we'll do now
Just
is...
one caveat, of course. Yes. A few of the other polls that that we are getting at the moment are saying hung. So it is an interesting thing. Pradeep is the outlier.
But Rajiv,
I know
even if it is single largest, it's something creditable.
No, of course it is. But there's a huge difference between being single largest and being... Dr. Sandeep Shastri says he's been patiently waiting for us since 6 p.m. in Bengaluru. Dr. Shastri, sorry that these are the disadvantage of the gap between Delhi and Bengaluru, but you want to respond to that different polls at the moment, some are giving hung in Punjab. Pradeep's gone on a limb, given it to AAP. Are you surprised with the scale of what Pradeep is saying, or do you believe that when there is a mood for change, it should extend from Patiala all the way to Pathankot?
I think, Rajdeep, given the trends that we are talking, the disaffection with the Congress, the unhappiness with the Akali Dal, the inability of the BJP to get its act together, I think it's very clear that there is a mood for change. And in any state, when there is a move for change, it generally leads to a landslide for that party. So I think those polls which are saying single largest party are doing a little bit of fence sitting, keeping in mind that a lot of people got the poll wrong last time, so they're just playing it safe. But I would believe that if there is this serious mood for change which Pradeep ji is talking about, you could well expect the type of result we are seeing in the exit poll.
So we want to move now from